Hi, and welcome to Journey Forward with Jory Rose, where you will gain insights, tools, and inspiration to get unstuck and live your best life. Jory is a licensed marriage and family therapist with a passion for helping people cultivate awareness and authenticity so they can show up fully in all aspects of their life. And now, here's Jory.
Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Journey Forward with Jory Rose. So if you've been listening to the podcast for some time, you see that I vary between talking about my own stories, how I've gotten unstuck, the path that I have traveled down, utilizing the tools of awareness, of mindfulness, of meditation. And I combine that with interviews and inspirational stories from other people who have had their journey to hopefully give you insight into you can create your own path as well. So in today's episode, I'm going to share with you one of my favorite stories that really became a pivotal shift in my own awareness for how I saw my own life when I was very fixed in my mindset around opportunities that I could have. And the source of the wisdom in this story was actually my youngest daughter, who at the time was about 10 years old. So let me paint the picture for you what was going on. It was post my divorce, and this was about, 7-8 years ago. And I was wanting to plan a trip to Kauai for just me and my girls. I had always wanted to go to Kauai. I had never been before. And it was a really big deal for me to think about doing this on my own, bringing my two daughters. But I wanted to create the experiences that I had always wanted to do. And it felt like a really big turning point for me as a single mom, post-divorce, to be able to do this on my own. And so when I planned this trip, I wanted to experience all that I could out of Kauai. Now, mind you, I was still kind of in my fixed mindset around believing my fears and anxieties. And I had only begun to be able to break through those old narratives. And so while I had really big intentions, that didn't mean that I didn't have to still fight off some of the old stories I was telling myself. Things like, I don't know if I can do that. Things like, that sounds scary to me. So this trip was really overcoming a lot of hurdles in my own mind. Even the fact that I booked it was overcoming, kind of breaking through that board of focusing on the obstacles rather than focusing on the outcomes. So we did a lot of exciting things that I never, ever would have done in the quote, old me. The old me would have been fearful, would have kind of gone to worst case scenarios. I would have been much more cautious. I would have been much more reserved. I would have been a little bit more predictable in how I wanted this vacation to look. As I've told you before, authenticity is one of my highest values. And so I really wanted to put my values to the test. If these are the tools I'm teaching others, I've got to step into my own power and actually live the tools that I was teaching others to do. So that meant facing my fears head on and doing it anyways. So what did I plan for this trip? Well, I scheduled surfing lessons, and my younger daughter and I, it was an amazing experience. And to witness her, who was, like I said, 10 years old at the time, or maybe she was even younger, it might have been 9 years old. And to be able to, see her courage and her bravery in paddling out on her own board 100 feet out. The beauty of the moment of she and I just lying on our surfboards, just kind of floating along the waves, waiting for our turn for the guide to help us practice getting up on our board and catching a wave. And then actually getting the wave, even though they were super tiny, it felt like a huge thing to overcome. I had never, ever done that before. And it was an amazing experience. And in fact, my girls still talk about it to this day, because while my older daughter was sitting on the beach watching us and making videos, I completely bailed off my surfboard and did a face plant into the water. You could hear my face smack the water and my daughter laughing on the video. We still talk about it now. But it was an incredible experience and definitely overcame something that I otherwise probably wouldn't have done in the past. So the next day was the really, really big day. we had scheduled a zip line tour, and it was going to be about a 5-hour zip line tour that was taking place in the center of the island. And I had always really wanted to go ziplining. We only did it once before at a very small little zip line in Catalina Island in Southern California. And so I knew that we would be able to do it. And this was a pretty big excursion, started really early in the morning. And it was amazing because part of the property was where they filmed Jurassic Park. So I got to imagine, the views of where the Brachiosaurus were roaming around the land. And this was an incredible ziplining experience, and not for the week. There was, I think, 9 different zip lines. The last one, or the second to last one, I should say, the longest of which was like, I don't know, maybe a third of a mile long over a bamboo forest. And I was even able to go inverted and talk about freedom and talk about literally pushing past all of those fears of the what ifs, of fear of control, but then watching my daughters step into that courage as well. The very, very last of the zip lines was more like a trapeze, where you got to hold on to a bar and you were able to jump into a pool. It was like this natural pool in the middle of the island, and in which there was turtles swimming around in there. And of our whole group, not many people wanted to do this. This took a lot of courage because it was going to be a pretty good fall once you let go of the trapeze bar. And yet I didn't want to say no to the opportunity. I wanted to take all the experiences that I could and really prove to myself that the biggest thing getting in my way was my old mindset of I can't do that. So even my daughters weren't too sure that they wanted to do this last zip line. And I raised my hand. First of all, I was really hot. I thought jumping into that great, cool, refreshing water seemed like it was going to be so perfect for the end of the afternoon. And I did it. And I was scared. And I still did it. And my daughters ended up doing it as well. After seeing their mom do it, they gained the courage. And most of our tour group sat on the sidelines watching, while us and a couple other people who had the courage to do it kept going around and around, getting back out of the water, swimming with the turtles, jumping into this swimming hole that was just idyllic. Well, like I said, I planned a pretty big day for us, and we only had about an hour and a half after that zip line tour to grab some quick lunch before our next excursion of the day, which was a helicopter tour. And I think I should insert here that it was such a fun day that for lunch, all we had literally was a double-decker ice cream cone. Like, that was the mindset I was in of we were just living it up and being in the moment. So then we get to the helicopter location, and I had never, ever been on a helicopter before. And if I said this was easy for me, then I'd be lying. I, once again, was having to face the fears of my old narratives, my old stories that told me, I can't do this. This is scary. I don't want to do this. What if? And I had to look at all of those old narratives head on and consider, do I want them to take over, which will either make me not enjoy this experience, or do I want to acknowledge that's just a thought, that's an old story, I don't have to hold on to that belief system anymore, and I could choose to let it go. And rather than going to what if, I could say what is. And what is I was here with my daughters, and I was excited for this next new opportunity. So we get in this helicopter, and it really completed our day because part of the helicopter tour was to the Jurassic Park waterfall that they show in the movie. And I have to say, it was one of the most thrilling experiences of my entire life. Now, mind you, as they're flying through the middle of the canyons in the island, they're playing the Jurassic Park theme song. So we actually land at the waterfall, and we get to kind of go really close up to it. We're all getting wet. We took some amazing photos. In fact, my girls were making fun of me because I was doing the thing that I always tell them not to do, which was view it from behind your phone while you're taking a video and picture rather than just being fully present. But I really wanted to document this moment, this experience, me truly overcoming anxiety in a very tangible way to do something I never, ever, ever would have done before. It was so beautiful. Kauai is one of my most absolute favorite places, and seeing it from above is one of the best ways to get the experience of the island. And I couldn't be more proud that I was doing this with my daughters, not just so I could share the experience with them and we could create these amazing family experiences together, especially as a divorced mom of young girls. What became a huge value of mine was role modeling to them how to fully embrace and live life. That they had a mom who had overcome fear and anxiety and didn't let that hold her back. And if I could do it, they could do it. But ironically, what we both experienced was this mutual respect of one another. They encouraged me. I think I encouraged them. And it was truly an amazing 36 hours between the surfing and the zip line and the helicopter tour. That night, we went for dinner in one of the little outdoor shopping areas in Poipu, and I came upon a store that was actually moving locations, and they had some jewelry in there. And I thought, I really want to get something that embodies the moment I was feeling for that day, which was the reminder to live, the reminder to face your fears and do it anyway, the reminder to be open to opportunities. And I wanted something tangible that I could look at that could be the visual representation of all the emotions I felt in that moment in time. Not to mention, since being divorced, I actually really missed wearing a ring. So buying one for myself felt really, really special. And I happened to find this one that was a beautiful pink stone surrounded by some diamonds. It was very feminine, very dainty. And the woman who was selling it to me was so kind. Her energy was exactly the experience that made the experience even richer. And when I said to her, I'm divorced and I miss wearing jewelry and I miss having a ring on every day, she very, very kindly put her hand on my shoulder and she says, honey, I'm 5 years in and it only gets better. And it was something I really needed to hear because I was still figuring out what was my post-divorce going to look like life for me. Who was I as a single mom? Who was I as a single woman? And still believing and yet needing to embrace that the unknown was going to be awesome rather than scary. So I went ahead and I purchased the ring and I wear it on my right hand, on my ring finger. And my youngest daughter, after I bought it, she said to me, Mommy, you just engaged yourself. So it kind of looks like an engagement ring with a pink stone. And when she says, you just engaged yourself, I was so full of love for her in that she shared that wisdom with me, that I could do something for myself in which I was making the commitment to live fully and to be my own person, and that I could do it on my own. So this was the summer of 2015, and I still wear the ring today. So the very next morning, we're heading out of our hotel room and we're walking down to the pool and the beach. And my older daughter's walking a few steps in front of us, and I'm walking side by side with my younger daughter. And I turned to her and I said, Cami, that was one of the best days of my entire life. That 36 hours where we got to go surfing together, and then the zip line tour and the helicopter tour. I said, that was one of my best days of my whole life. And I'm so glad I got to share it with you. And without missing a beat, she turns to me and she says, so far. And her words at 9 years old struck me with such deep wisdom that she was absolutely right. This was one of my best days of my life so far. I still had so many best days ever that were awaiting to come. And they were going to happen because I had gone past the hurdle of not believing in myself, of letting fear and anxiety take over, of having the belief system of I can't do that. And it's something that we still talk about today, is the idea of so far. So I share this story with you because I want you to consider, what is your view of yourself and your life? Because I remember when I was married, I remember having this thought one day, thinking to myself, the people I know right now are likely going to be the people I know forever. Because I didn't see in that point in my time of my life where there was going to be any opportunity for growth, for expansion of my circle, of my opportunities to, whether it was meet new people, travel new places, do new things, because at that point I was too fearful. The safety and comfort of what was known was a higher value at that point for me. And I had to practice shifting my mindset into being open to the unknowns, knowing that the unknown was awesome because I got to create it. So think about it for a moment. What is your mindset towards your own growth, towards what opportunities and experiences await you moving forward in your life, including all different kinds of relationships, even your mindset towards money or even your body image? Because it's so easy to think that who I am right now in this moment is fixed. And it's who I'm always going to be. I'm always only going to have these friends, this, this amount of money, I'll weigh this amount. And if it's not something that you're super happy with, it feels hard to overcome that, to be open to consider how might it look different. So, as you take the snapshot image of yourself right now, just consider, what are the mindsets that could potentially be holding you back from believing that your best days truly are yet to come, and that your best day ever has only been what's happened so far? There are many different areas in our life and where this can come up. And I've only named a few of them. Your relationships, what you feel comfortable with doing at this point in your life, whether it's about travel or relationships or career, money, your weight. There are so many ways that we can choose to live our lives. And so many of us, and I know because I was one of them, got stuck in a very fixed way of living. And I know it immensely held me back from even believing that there could be more best days ever. And of course, we're always going to create new experiences. But what allowed my best days ever were the ones in which I had overcome the things that held me back, in which I never, ever would have experienced those best days ever. So the wisdom that my daughter gave me that day reminded me how much more there was yet to come, and how much more there still is yet to come. I'm not done in my growth and in my expansion. And in fact, it's an intention I set every single morning. Part of my daily practice, I have a very simple daily practice I do every day, and it begins with a heart opener, in which I extend my arms outward, lifting my chest up to the sky and kind of raising my gaze upwards. And as I sit in this open-hearted posture, I say to myself, may I be open to all the gifts the universe has to offer, all the experiences, opportunities, and people who come into my life to help me put me on the path that I'm supposed to be on. I didn't always have that intention for my heart opener every morning. That evolved out of this reminder to continue to live, to continue to embrace the unknown, that I am open to receiving. I'm not just open to receiving, but I'm asking the universe, bring these opportunities my way. So when they do come my way, I can recognize them as the answer to this intention, to allow me to continue to grow, to continue to have new experiences, to continue to meet new people that I'm supposed to meet, to expand my circle, and not just have this one snapshot of my moment in time right now as the definition of who I'm supposed to be forever. Now, if you're listening and the snapshot of where you're at is something that you're fully content in, then that's beautiful. And a lot of my clients are frustrated in that snapshot. There's more out of life that they want. There's more money they want to make. There's new relationships they want to cultivate. There's new places they want to travel to. There's more they want to do to gain a more healthy body image. And so the thing that holds us back the most, that biggest roadblock, that board that we have to break through, is our mindset and believing that we can actually do it. So I want to remind you, so far, your best days ever have yet to come. And if you want some help in getting past those roadblocks, message me. I am taking on a few new clients for the month of June. I will have the link in the show notes if you'd like to set up a consultation with me. I have very limited space in my schedule. So this is an exclusive offer because I'm not opening up to new clients very often. But I am living truly my best life when I was able to push past the thing that got in my way the most, which was my mindset that I couldn't do it. And once I decided I could, when I broke that board and my hand hit that cushion, if you haven't heard that story, go back a few episodes and you'll hear me talk about it again. But when you can break past that one single barrier preventing you from living your life fully, then you're going to stay stuck. But when you push past it, the opportunities are endless. And I know because I'm there now, and I didn't always used to be. It's a practice. That doesn't mean the old fears and anxieties don't come up. I just simply have shifted a different relationship to them. And that is the key right there. If you expect the old stories to never come up, then that's not a realistic expectation. And when they do, you'll feel frustrated and you'll think, what's wrong with me? I can't do this. But when you recognize that the mind is just going to do what the mind does, which is produce thoughts, and it's up to me how to engage with those thoughts. It's up to me of how much power to give those thoughts. And when I give the fears less attention, and I hold on a little bit more to the beliefs in myself and to the things that I want to create in my life, truly the possibilities are endless. So thanks so much for tuning in. I hope this story was inspiring to you. I know if you would have told me 10 years ago that I would have been able to do all of those things, I would have laughed in your face. I would have never thought I would have been capable to have gotten past the fears that would have allowed me to engage in life in such a joyous and adventurous and beautiful way. So thanks again for tuning in today, you guys. And if you want to take me up on the exclusive offer to see if we're right in working together so I can help you push past that fixed mindset that's keeping you stuck, I'd love to hear from you. Take care and be well.
To continue your journey forward, find Jory Rose on Facebook and Instagram to become part of her growing community. You can also gain access to her meditations, books, online classes, or to sign up for an upcoming retreat. Visit her at joryrose.com. That's JOREEROSE.com.